Is this gonna be serious? But is this gonna be serious or is this gonna be?
No, not at all. I don't even have like a intro. I just go right into it.
My man.
Yeah. So without any official, like, I don't even know why I'm holding this pen. I don't have like an introduction of my guest because this is technically going to be an X-File. So, bro, this is number 7 today. 7 days ago said, bro, I've been putting off podcasting too many times. This is now my 5th attempt at a podcast.
Okay.
And I told myself, I'm going to take this seriously only if I go 30 consecutive days of podcasting. 10 minutes, that's all I need. But I need to shoot a video and audio. And I went and bought this thing on Facebook Marketplace. You know, that's my spot.
The Marketplace King.
But when I knew that we were going to have some stuff going on or whatever, you might end up being over here, I was like, oh, we got a pod. And it only makes sense. One, it gives me practice of like having a guest on a podcast, right? Mm-hmm. But 2, we have some really dope stuff we can actually talk about. Sure. So I was like, I gotta get my dog, DJ Dame. DJ Dame is here to join us. This doesn't have a name, but I'm just gonna call it the Sergey the DJ podcast for now. If that changes, I'll bleep that part out and I don't know, throw some ADR over. But I always start off my podcast with one of those. So with DJ Dame in the building, I first want to give you the floor to, and we kind of just did this in a consultation, but give you the floor to explain who you are and, you know, pop your flavor real quick for it.
All right. I'm going to look at this camera.
Yeah.
My name is DJ Dame.
Okay.
I'm an Aquarius and I enjoy long walks on the beach and wear my toes out in the sand. I'm Damian Powell, a.k.a. DJ Dame. Been DJing, I guess, 11 years. From South Carolina, Columbia, in fact. And
is that Cola?
Yes, sir. COLA.
Already?
Yes. Been here about 21 years. And I love music. I mean, just it is what it is.
Word. So Dame and I met each other at I don't even know if it was a professional development. I guess it was because it was summer prior to. We both were school teachers and new to that school district. Well, were you new to the school district?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. I wasn't going to say it, but but yeah, so we were both at the same school district, which required us to do like these trainings over the summer or whatever, get acclimated with this district. And so we also happened to be both in the same kind of subject field. We both were going to teach a technology based, or at the time, what was it? Tech apps or technology applications level or CTE level. Look, yes. I don't forgot everything.
It's all good. You got it.
So we doing a PD, and I'll never forget. We sitting here talking about kind of like, I don't know, bunch of stuff. Me and rest in peace, Cody and Dame. And I mentioned that I was a DJ, and it was something that had to do with money, like something we had to spend on. And for whatever reason, I was probably cocky too saying it, but I remember saying, yeah, that's just like 1 or 2 gigs. And you looked at me and was like, yeah. You said, bro, you good.
Bro, your price points was bananas to me. I was like, yo.
And so what was that? 20, it had to be 17? Yeah, 2017, summer 2017. And ever since then, me and Dame been hecka tight. Within that, from 2017 to now 2023, I would go through kind of these ups and downs on DJing. And in the beginning, it was kind of like, man, I might hang it up. And then I'm talking to Dame. He's like, nah, bro, you got something. Keep going. And always we had just a random Sergey popping into Dame's classroom to vent about a consultation or something, you know, with DJ, or bro, look what I just bought. You know what I mean? Or look at some gear. Like, it was always something. We gonna barge into each other's room, talk about a previous gig, something. And so it's been that we've had both a personal friendship and like business relationship since then. And so I had to have you here to just like chop about that stuff. What did that look like from your vantage? Like, did it look like, who is this young dude? Because there's an age gap there as well. We'll get into that, but like, what did it look like from?
Honestly, I was a little bit envious, and I'll explain. Not as a jealousy standpoint, but wishing I would have been able to start as early as you did.
Got you. Like at my age.
Yes.
Oh, got you.
So when I thought about it in terms of that, and especially when you were getting close to the end of your tenure there, it was more about seeming like you really had it together. And if you didn't have it together, you really were getting it together really fast.
I was finna say, I was bumping head a lot.
But it was okay because you got to do that.
Yeah.
Those are growing pains at the beginning, and just be able to see you be able to go through that and have these clear, it seemed like they were clear visions to me, and also because of your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was riding with you on the visions, because you wouldn't have been able to do some of the stuff that.
Oh, that's big facts.
That you did. We're talking about a financial responsibility. So when I was looking at it, of course, that's what I was kind of looking at is like, man, I wish I would have started this early, because at this point, I'd be DJing when I want to versus DJing when I have to or out of obligation.
Yeah.
And just being able to have that foresight, I think that you had or have at this time. This even goes beyond DJing, because even when, we won't get into all of your stuff, but, with houses.
Yeah.
Thinking about just some of the things that you think about. So anyway, it was that, but I didn't want you to lose that vision. And when I saw that, I understood where you were, because I had a lot of friends that went through those times as well. But because of your age, and because I think you really had a genuine passion for it, and the things that you did in the technology side, all of those things just help to enhance what you're doing in general. So like you see it, and I see it coming to fruition now. So I think it's been pretty awesome to watch that, but I just didn't want to let it die. And so when we were having those conversations, I really wanted to encourage you, and I think some people will, because they believe that you're taking money from me, some people would think about it like that, so they can't share. Yeah. And I don't think that way. Yeah. And I believe that, because I had a guy telling me a long time ago, shout out to Leslie Marshall, which is one of my friends, or my uncle's friends, actually. And he was kind of mentoring me, kind of pouring to me at the beginning when I first moved here to Dallas. Okay. And he did a mock interview with me, and I remember messing up on his word, and I felt really stupid. But when I got finished, I told him thank you, and I was like really appreciative, because that's what I believe. True.
That is my wife. She has no clue she's coming right into a podcast. Watch this.
Uh-oh.
Hello, my love. Welcome to the Sergey the DJ podcast. You're live on air. Talk to us, shouty.
Shout out to the first lady.
Pop your flavor. What's going on?
Shout out to impromptu things happening,
bro.
What I mean?
Yeah, I feel like more of that should happen in podcast. Well, I don't know. They probably do.
Authenticity.
You know what I'm saying? I was going to ask you too. I know you were explaining something that one of your mentors. I didn't want to.
Just that last thing. He said to me, "You don't have to thank me, or the way you can thank me is when you have the opportunity to pour into another brother, then to make sure you do that." Yeah. And he told me that maybe either 19 or 20 years ago.
Yeah. Hold on one second, because I just realized that FaceTime might have turned the video off. Hold on.
So anyway, when that happened, man, I just, instead of trying to hide information or anything like that, I decided that anything that I had was going to be open for anybody, man.
Yeah. Man, what's real dope about that is I had a conversation probably with you, but definitely with like 3 other people. A cat named Gus Garza with Your DJ, Chris Harmon with Harmland Vision, and Lance Patton. Sorry, Lance. But I know I had that conversation with all of them because they're a little bit older than me. And it was like, once I started to see a little bit of success on the DJ side, especially on the photo booth side, it's like, bro, I don't want to wait till I'm in my 40s, 50s to be like, yeah, well, now I think it's time for me to give back to the, you know what I mean? Not to mock what you or your uncle just said or your mentor just said, but like I feel like one of the benefits of being my age and reaching back is that people like me are a little more receptive. You know, just naturally, you got a teenage son, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, he don't want to hear, you know what I mean?
No.
But one of his peers, it might hit a little different. And honestly, that was one of the more powerful things about mentorship for me growing up is my mentors were on the younger side. I had an older mentor, but I had one that was way closer to my age than, you know, my older mentors. And so I always wanted to, I don't know, I guess be early in giving back, you know what I mean, and sharing game. Yep. And more so because my I guess kind of like goal in life or my philosophy in life is just having a thumbprint on as many people's success as possible.
Yep.
And I don't have to wait till I'm 40 or 50 to do that, you know?
Correct.
So, but I did want to ask you just about, because you mentioned earlier you love music, where it came from. Because I know we have some similarities there as well, but I want you to kind of explain, like, how do you see music leading to DJ? Because you could be a producer, you could be a rapper, you could be, you know, singer, because we know little Stro Elliott can put you in that element, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Stro.
But nah, like what led you your love to music to DJing?
Well, first of all, my dad used to be in the basement making his own cigarettes.
Okay.
He would have hundreds of albums that would be on these stands that were just made out of wood. Maybe one of his guys made, I don't know. And he had this magnificent sound system. Like if I could put my hands on it now, I think it would still be awesome. But you know, that is not possible. But anyway, during that time, I got a really large appreciation for a lot of different music without knowing it. And so now when I hear music, first of all, it puts me in a different place because especially if it's older music, because I remember what I did.
Yeah.
My memory is not good. I explain that to you often. But with music, I don't know how that it's able to take me somewhere that specifically I can remember things that I was doing when I first heard it or when I heard it the last time or whatever the case may be. So I think it's pretty amazing the way it's been able to do that. And then I fast forward, you know, that must have been around 2012. And I had been around a lot of DJs and, you know, anytime I would go to a wedding, I kind of gravitate over there and I would just watch what they were doing because I would recall a lot of the music. You know, I got friends, you know, I was in the band and all of that stuff too, marching bands and all that. My man Maurice, Ron, Billy, we would all be in our, we stayed in a trailer, double wide trailer. We listened to music and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But a big thing of when we were in college is they were pulling back and they would want to play. We went to South Carolina State University, shout out to the 101. But what they would do is they would take old classics and they would want to run them back. Well, I remember one time I had this box set that a old girlfriend gave me, and they knew I had it and they wanted to check mine out because it was like, we want to rewrite this, and they would rewrite it, and it's like crazy. Now I ended up losing all those CDs, but that's beside the point. But as far as the music is concerned, and then I got with my man Albert Bustos, shout out to Big Al. Hello. But I went to a gig with him and I was like, man, this is what you do. Especially when it got to the digital side, I'm like, this is bananas.
You went to a gig with Big Al, like you just watched him rock?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah. And I said, man, I'm on it. So that night I went home, I was so geeked about it. I was like, I got to try to convince my wife, and she's not easily excitable about anything that I've really gotten into. At least not at that point. And I think when I did this and she could see it, she bought in and I couldn't believe it. Yeah. So before she could change her mind, I went on and started grabbing some credit and tried to do some things. And I was able to buy equipment, I think, by the end of the week.
Wow.
And
you would say your wife found or saw that you were serious in that, like by the end of the week, or would you say it took like a few gigs or whatever to?
No, she knew I was serious when I talked to her about it that night.
Oh, okay.
And she gave her approval, and because of that, and shout out to 20 years, Coach, I love you.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Black
today,
love.
The 28th. All
Yes,
day.
indeed. Happy anniversary to both of y'all.
But yeah, when I think she saw it and she agreed and she was like, I think you should do it. And funny enough that your wife was here, something was going on. I can't remember what it was. And she wrote me a note. Sorry. She wrote me a note and she was encouraging me. She encouraged me. She said, and that's why DJ Dame is going to be the best DJ. She gave me my name.
Yeah.
I didn't have a name. At that point.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I wish I could tell you the exact thing that she said, but I never forget it. And she put DJ Dame there. And I would never change it because of that.
Bro, that is epic, dog.
Yeah.
Bro, I just was like, Sir Chance the rapper, Sergey the DJ.
There you go.
Bro, that is live, man.
Yeah, man.
So, dang. That's actually,
I don't think we ever talked about
yeah,
that.
no, I did not know that. So that actually like makes, that puts a really nice frame around a lot.
Yeah.
Because I've been at your crib and we've talked about, different stuff. You might pick up some gear or whatever. She see a case and she be like, you gotta, you know what I mean? And most people I know, whether it's DJing or not, most of my homies who got like some kind of hobby or something they into, I got a homie that's into guns, you bring one home, it's like, what do you do? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or man, she be, if I do this, she'll, you know what I mean? It's, I could see the support and like there seems that's there in a way. I would have, especially knowing Coach's character, like I would have expected by now her to be like, no, don't buy no boat. You know what I mean?
Oh, trust this there. It's there.
Okay.
But it has to make sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it doesn't make sense to her.
Yeah, but I
just
mean,
gotta-
like, no, shut it down. Like, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even like, the new whip or whatever.
Oh, she's all in.
Yeah.
She's all in. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's dope, man. That's super dope. So I wanted to, on the subject of wives, I asked my wife to tell me what she expects us to talk about. I asked her this morning. I was like, if Dame's going to be on the podcast, what would you expect us to talk about? What you think? She said,
I don't know, probably something silly.
yeah. So I was expecting her to say DJ stuff. And I was like, except for DJ stuff, she was like, didn't even think about DJ stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. She said, and she started laughing and she said, generational differences.
Oh, wow.
End quote. And so I was like,
Yeah.
that is actually a dope thing to talk about because we have been at events together. So just to get a framework, sometimes we'll go and Dame will be the DJ and I'll be running lights or I'll be there kind of, doing something else, running a 360, and sometime they flip around. And I remember one particular night we were at the and Keller, and yeah, we were there, and you were running a 360 with Marie, and I was in there DJing, and this particular couple was like, it has to go D-Town Boogie, and I was like, watch me work. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know what song it was. I do know it was Mo3. But it wasn't outside because outside ain't even Mo3 song. But it was a Mo3 song, and you text me and was like, "Bro, what is this?" And we were kind of like in the back and forth for like, and then you were like walk by too because like I just got the M50s or the 50, or 50 M's, excuse me. And you'll like walk by and be like,
Oh, I really remember this now.
Yeah.
Yes, we were across the hall. Yes.
Yeah, because that was my first. I think that was my first gig with you with those. So that was that was your first time hearing those. But then we were texting back and forth about like, bro, I need this playlist because like, you know what I mean. And then on the old school, like I have some stuff I feel like I can get in the bag. Like if I was gonna do the Colvin wedding that you just did, like I feel like I would be comfortable for the reception because I got like a little bag for that, right? And I can mix in some new and and that was something that they kind of talked about in their consultation. But there have been some clients where I signed you because I felt like throughout the whole time, and that was actually one of them, like Dame is gonna be able to get into a bag of like I have an experience with this song. You know what I mean? We recently got a Freaknik couple that was like, we want Freaknik vibes. I was like, well, Dame was at Freaknik, so I'm gonna assign him. You know,
that
what
was
I mean?
gonna be so live.
Yeah.
That was gonna be live.
Yeah. So I think about stuff like that when I think about generational gaps in terms of like what we do, our profession. But what are some just in our relationship in general, just like things you see that jump out to you in terms of generational differences between you and I?
With music or in
Period.
DJing or just
Period.
your generation is more just do it in my mind. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. And in some cases, I feel like it's almost like I don't really care what anybody thinks. I think we got to stick our toes in the water. Y'all jump in the pool. And so because we've been raised where you have to consider other people's feelings a little bit more, cancel culture, seeing all of what's going on with that now too.
Yeah.
I think we're more prone to think about what are the consequences either before or as we're doing it, where I think your generation thinks about the consequences after you have done it.
Yeah. I've said that to you verbatim, actually. Yeah. I think it wasn't buying the 360 booth. It was something. I wanted to do something. And I remember saying, we were at school, and I remember saying, bro, I'll know it won't work when I try it and it don't work. That's been bro, I've been saying that for like 10 years, bro. No cap. Like I legit, that is one of my philosophies. It's like, hey, bro, we're going to buy these phones and, you know, we'll try it out and I'll just know it was a flop when it flopped. But no, that's interesting. So conditioning, you would say, is one of the reasons why that difference is present there for your generation. Do you feel like with my generation's mentality of like, just do it, do you feel like that is something that your generation, not just you, but your generation, the people in your generation admire more so, or feel like is reckless or kind of tense up on?
I would say probably we tense up on. Cause like my filter is different. Like I'll be all right. If you said something that was out of the way, like it's okay. I would like, okay, but I'm gonna reel you back in if I feel like it's something that needs to be. Yeah. You know, come here, young blood. Let me tell you something. Yeah. But if you just said something or did something that was just different, I'm like, and I'm just gonna watch. Yeah. Does it work? Nobody complained about that. Okay. Case in point, we were at one of our first gigs. I was with you, and I was watching you DJ. Your dinner time is way louder than mine. Oh yeah. Way louder than mine. Yeah. Your tempo of music, way different than mine. And so I've been places where I've been asked to speed up or be louder, but I would rather that they ask me to be louder than me to bring it down. So like, I don't mind the request, but in my mind, if they were asking me to bring it down, I'm saying, oh man, was I killing somebody just now? You know, especially if I'm thinking about the people that are right in front of me. Yeah, TT, Granny, somebody. Yeah, all of them. Because I don't do that. Don't put them right by me. Yeah, you know, because even if it's not they will. Oh yeah, because even if it's not at the beginning, by the time I'm trying to get crunk, now they like, oh my gosh, please take me home. Hey, nobody safe. 8:45, 9:15 in that pocket, nobody safe. Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You'll hear the elevation for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, but it's also a difference in opinion and difference of, you know, the crowds. You know, I have to take that into consideration because you're playing like Chris Brown is one of the big ones that you play. I think you play Fine China often when I'm with you. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite songs in general, right? Big dinner song. And I always want to play it loud. But you say dinner, I say party. Yeah. So it's just, you know. I've divided that now into, I call it warm up. So I started devising a playlist for warm up because I do start dinner on a kind of slow, Can We Talk? You're My Lady, D'Angelo. I pull out I did everything Mary J. Blige. Oh yeah. I came out of You're My Lady into that, bro. When I tell you the women went crazy, and it was like young bridesmaids my age, right?
So I do want to have a space for that. But my philosophy, of course, like you mentioned, is like it needs to be a little more upbeat leading into the reception, because otherwise that's kind of an abrupt jump, when it gets time, unless there's like an intermission or a gap, such as like, hey, we're going to do the first dance now. And then, you know what I mean? But what I was going to say in response to kind of what you were saying about the generational gaps, not just musically, but just in general, is like, I find it funny how our friendship works like a friendship, and our business relationship works so well regardless of that generational gap or the generational differences. I say that intentionally because we've also been at events where we're together, and I'll be up tempo, and you said something to me, and it was surrounded around a particular song, and you were like, okay, you text me from another gig, and you were like, I tried that method, and now I'm kind of on board. Oh no, it was Hood Figure that you text me about trying that one out, and then in that same night, you said, yeah, that I can see that. Like this is a situation where I'm gonna have to kind of go up.
Yeah.
And so, was that a situation where somebody asked you like, hey, can you kind of?
I think I was kind of reading the room,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I prefer to do. So in that same case, I don't like to start out with just banging somebody across the head with the hits.
Yeah.
I will prefer to kind of lead into that.
Yeah.
And so
crescendo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I was watching the room and something was happening. One of those cases in particular, it was a younger crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So, I told them before, I don't want you to feel like you got your granddaddy up here DJing for you.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be fun. We're going to do it. And because of the crowd and what the responses I was getting, I said, okay. And they were, bopping and stuff, but they were really moving. And so I decided I was going to move it a little bit faster. Mm-hmm. So what I ended up doing, Willie Hutch, which is I Choose You, mm-hmm. which is what you use, it's UGK and Outkast.
International Players Anthem.
So I ended up doing that, and once I got there, I couldn't turn around.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
And exactly what you mean.
Oh man, it was like when they heard Willie Hutch, like they thought I was playing International Players Anthem, but I wasn't. And so the old heads they're like, oh yeah, and they was into it, and they was singing and everything. And I let them get into that little break in between or the bridge. And when I came back and they heard Andre right after that, they went bananas.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about reading the room, just in general, which I think I do pretty well at. But there are sometimes I come in with, like you were talking about, a bag. I'll have something in mind before I get started, and then I have to deviate. Even for the COVID wedding, I had a young lady. We were R&B out. We were going in. People were enjoying it, but I had one young lady came up to me. She said, okay, I think they ready. I said, what you talking about? She said, we done had a couple of drinks now, and I think we ready to dance. I was like, you think so? And she said, yeah. I said, okay, well, let me see.
Yeah.
And then I started playing. I can't remember what I played, but when I did, I think it might have been the same thing. I'm so impressed with Willie Hutch right now. Like, let's do it.
Oh, this is working.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. And they went bananas, but we had to stop for a second, which was fine, but it was like, man, they were at the mountaintop.
Yeah.
And then
but
so just reading the room, but I'm definitely fine with either one, but I'm going to come in with a game plan anyway.
Yeah. Now you mentioned earlier somebody saying something about, or you mentioned into a client, you don't want them to feel like your granddad is up there behind the booth kind of thing.
Yep.
What do you feel like, considering generational differences, and you're, especially now 2023, it's going to be way more younger brides or couples that are much younger than you.
Yep.
Do you feel like there's a need to state that, or like how do you approach being of service in this industry for young? Because we talk about the NBA, this and the FYN and the YFN and the YSL and the, you know what I mean? What do you feel like you are now? Do you feel like there's a pressure there? Or do you feel very comfortable when it comes to like young brides or young couples? And then how do you feel? Yeah, just explain how you feel about servicing younger crowds now.
I still feel fine with that, but I do think it's an additional pressure because I'm not as in tune with the music. The newer music doesn't mean something to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like just with anything in general, when something means something to you,
It hit a little different.
yeah, it is. So when I hear some of these songs, you know, the good thing is with like for you, when you're using the software that you use in order to capture the songs and the way I capture songs, it gives me an idea of, first of all, who they like.
Yeah.
And for the people that I may not have known about before, it gives me, that's when I start digging a little bit more.
Yeah.
Figuring out like, okay, this works and this works. Or this is what's hot. And even checking Billboard and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily that I'm so engulfed in this age group music.
Yeah.
But I think that because I'm able to, one, get the music from them or get some music from them, now I can start feeling things out. So I think it's important for, in particular, that time for me to say something about the grandfather, because when you see the gray in my beard and I tell you I'm 47, then it's like, oh man, like, because you want a young DJ that's going to be able to feel what you got.
I wouldn't take you for 47, even with the gray in the beard, to keep it a buck. I asked that question about how you would approach that because I wonder if that would be a hindrance. If I was a groom and I'm sitting in a consultation with you and you come out with, you know, I'm 47, I don't want y'all to have to worry about it or whatever, then you just kind of put it in my head because I didn't even think that, you know. Mm-hmm. But then I also wonder if there are people who are just, they might be thinking it and you're just going to get ahead of it, you know. And I pick your brain for a lot of things, you know.
Right.
And I wonder, especially when I watch some of the people I talked about before, the Rod Bakers, the Lance Pantons, the guys who've been doing this, you know, Jaime Chavez. And, you know, I wonder how I can adjust to avoid that when I get there, you know. And it'll probably be different for everybody, I guess.
Well, I believe that too. The great thing for you is that you're able to accommodate both anyway. Right. But what you said earlier, like you got a bag, but like when we talk about the older group, I got a bigger bag.
Yeah.
But I also had those experiences. So when I'm doing certain things, I can talk to them now. I'm like, ooh, do y'all remember when this? And then boom, I hit them with it. They're like, oh, the crowd goes crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing can happen to you based on your experiences with your music. Mm-hmm. So I think that, and again, with you starting out earlier than me, when you get to be 47, if you're still DJing, I feel like you're still going to have that. You'll have that advantage. Plus, you're more in tune with trying to listen to more of the younger music anyway, or the newer music. Let me not say younger.
Yeah, I struggle with anything 2015 and up. It's kind of like, man, I gotta Google that person. Like, you know what I mean? Like if it wasn't Cole or Kendrick or, you know what I mean? It's like, I gotta go, you know, around when Migos came out was kind of when I started to like phase out of consuming new music regularly.
Right.
But also the way we consume music around that time, and maybe even a little bit before that, drastically changed, right?
Yes.
It's a new album, you know, every single day, or new single that's just, you know what I mean? And then it's some new SoundCloud record. And then you throw now social media, like, bro, now it's not even songs. It's the audio from an Insta reel, you know, that's like, so now I'm trying to figure out how do I find that remix to this, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's a headache. That's a real headache. And you know, you made a great point too. I remember when I first moved here, I made it a point. I used to get paid weekly. Every Tuesday, I was in Best Buy. Sorry. I was in a... So I was somewhere buying 2 CDs a week, right? So when I talk to you about, you know, the music meaning something to me, is I invested time.
Yeah.
And I invested money in this in particular. And I think that's what makes it different. Right now, there's no difference in between the music that you can listen to and I can listen to. We both have streaming networks that we use. Yeah. And so now I can just go on it. What was that song? And especially with Shazam.
Yeah. Hey Siri.
I can do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can just get it whenever I want.
Bro, I can't tell you how many songs I Hey Siri this and that. Just because, and I prefer to do it that way because when you do it, Apple will store that song in the song in like a list of songs that you Shazammed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so then I can always, like, if I forget about it, I can always just go back to that list and buy them or whatever, right? But I always forget to go back to that list.
I got one too. Mine go through Shazam and Spotify. So
yeah, but I don't know if I'll be DJing. At least not like, oh, I don't want personal images showing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no telling what done flipped up on that.
you good? You
would have let me know.
Yeah, like
hey, bro. Block is hot.
Yeah.
But nah, if I'm still DJing, you know, you said 46, 47.
47.
40. If I'm still DJing by 47, I want it to look very like 5-10 times a year. You know what I mean? Yeah. To the point to where I'm so selective with those events, it don't really matter that I'm not clued into the newest TikTok trend or whatever exists at that point. You know what I mean?
But that's because you're going to be DJing for your demographic, your age group. You know what I mean?
You know what? I never even thought about that though. Like right now, I'm 32. I DJ for a lot of people who are my age right now. Like it's a hot season. And it's a perfect pocket. Like the majority of the people I'm serving are my age group.
Yep.
And I have a few that are younger, and I have a slimmer few that are older. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think about, like, by the time I'm 40, then the gap, you know, I'm 40 servicing a 28-year-old's wedding and what that will look like, and then a 21-year-old.
Right. You know, Bow Wow doesn't have a lot of new fans. No. The reason why I brought that up is because I grew up with Bow Wow.
Yeah.
I watched Bow Wow when he had the braids.
Yeah.
Right?
Same.
106, Mr. 106 in Park.
I'm not far in age from Bow Wow, I don't think.
No.
So I did all the Harlem shaking.
All that. Yeah. Bounce with me, bounce with me. But because of that, like I think about that too, like, so the people that he's servicing, they're the people that grew up with Bow Wow.
Yeah.
You might have been a little bit older. You might have been a little bit younger. But them cats that if they rock with Bow Wow back then, they can rock with him now.
Yeah.
Now I won't say, and this is nothing short on or bad on him, but like if he makes new music, do you really want to hear it? Maybe not. I love Prince, but I wasn't a big fan. I'm just being honest, man. I love Prince, but I wasn't a big fan of the newer music that he was creating.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. So, but again, that
I'm not the no.
Yeah, bring that. I'll be like. But when I'm thinking about you in that case, again, the people that you're growing up with right now, when you are 47, if you decided to do that, that's probably who your group is.
Yeah.
And when you don't, you're going to have to, well, you may not have to, but when the younger people don't get a chance to see you, that's why I make that introduction as in, I'm not your grandfather or whatever, you know.
Got you.
Because I need them to feel good about that. There's only been one instance that after I got finished, and I feel like it was good, but they were trying to make me be a chaperone.
Oh.
And there were certain things that were happening that, like, you're not going to come up and just grab my microphone and start doing stuff. Like, okay, that's when I turned to the old man.
Right.
But they didn't invite me back because it was a more of a youth group, if you would, or a youth affiliate group. And they were like, we would just want to have somebody closer to our age. I played the music that they wanted. Yeah. But also I don't play a bunch of cursing music. Right. What I listen to in my own library, that's on what I do. Yeah. But what I come out with is something different. Yeah. And so some of that I think came from that as well. But I'm all right with that. Yeah. I'm really okay with it.
Nah, I mean, especially when it comes to like the vulgarity of the music or whatever, like there's so much more than just like age that comes with that. That's just a professional thing.
But because of this new age group or this new generation, they don't know what that is.
So we don't see it that way.
No, no, there's no humility in that. My kids, man, they'll come out and they'll be playing music. They'll be like, "Hey, Dad, I want you to hear this." Now they know I'm a DJ, so I get it.
I told that
Yeah,
I told that
dude. I'm like, so my daughter played something for me one day, and I was like, I don't really know. I think it's because she's getting older that she feels like I've just accepted it, but it's some stuff I'm not comfortable with listening to her around.
Yeah.
And
She hit you with that Meg Thee Stallion, bro.
oh man, it's worse than that.
Big Lotto, big remix.
Bruh, I was hearing all kind of stuff, and I was like, yo, chill, like,
Yeah.
stop. Like, she was like, what? And I said, I don't feel comfortable listening to this with you. Like, I get it. Can you find a clean version? Because I got a streaming network that I can find cleaner versions, right? But
Just
yeah, I'm just like, please. And so, but they don't have that same filter. These are the same kids that when you're around at a basketball game or football game, they'll be cursing right around you,
yeah.
you know? But back in the day, when I was a young buck,
Yeah. Somebody else mama can whoop you.
that's right. So like, I always had that in the back of my head. Now don't get me wrong. It's not like I was always,
Yeah.
you know, right in everything. But when I recognized where I was, like, I'm not doing it. I might whisper something to you,
Yeah.
you know, whether male or female, my friends or whatever, but I'm not going to be just out there yelling. And these cats right now are different. They don't really care about what you think.
Yeah.
So that's a part of that. I think the breakdown that we may have had in that last instance that I was telling you about, because they just want to hear the cursing anyway.
Yeah.
They'll come to me and say, do we have to hear the clean version? Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. I've gotten that. I've gotten that a time or two. Well, because we are coming up on that time, I do want you to share a goal. Like, it can be personal, it could be DJ, it could be whatever. But like, Dame, before he leaves this planet, what is something that must happen? You know, I asked everybody on the team this, but I just felt like it was appropriate for the pod.
No, it's all good. I just want my kids to know I was doing it for them. That the time that I spent away was because I was trying to build something. And regardless of whether they decide, which they don't want to DJ, but just understand that my time wasn't away because I was just out in these streets.
Yeah.
It was because I'm trying to make sure that I could provide at the crib.
Yeah.
And that we can do certain things and enjoy their lives, man.
Yeah.
You know? So that's really it for me.
Hey, bro, don't be surprised. DJ DC might be coming up.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
All right, we're going to end it there, bro. I appreciate you, fam.
For sure.
The struggle.
That muzzle my stomach.